is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today, we are here to discuss the finale of Finding Mr. Christmas, streaming exclusively on Hallmark Plus. Fair warning, this episode will contain spoilers.
Like who won?
Like who won? So, we did take a poll on Instagram last night. Prior to recording this episode, because I was just curious where people were landing, and I want to tell you that I was shocked by the results. As of the recording of this episode, I wrote Eli.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were just being casual.
What a dummy. I think because his Instagram name is Eli Music. Elijah at 22%, Ezra at 36%, Hayden at 42%. And I got to tell you, going into watching this finale, I was shook seeing Elijah at third.
Me too. I have some big feelings about it, but I'm going to reserve them.
Yeah, maybe the people had a better vision of what was happening here than we did.
Maybe.
So we start with the dudes around the fire. It does appear to actually be snowing.
It's blowing my mind that it's actually snowing.
Because someone's like, maybe it's fake snow. I don't think it is.
No,
we get a lot of snow in this episode that I think is real snow.
I think so too. Except for at the very, very end. But
yes.
Inside,
by the way.
The outside snow did look legit.
And of course, the dudes are talking about, like, we're coming to the end. This is their natural, like, very, very staged moment.
This is the one thing I hate about reality TV shows, reality competition shows. They always have, the last episode is this like reminiscent segment. They got to talk about like how they got there and how far they've come. And like sometimes, do you remember like on Survivor, they used to do this like stupid, like in a kayak and they would be on the water. And
I don't.
No? Am I losing my mind? I don't know. I'm like, just get to it. Let's get to it. I want to see who wins this thing.
Elijah has his like another snow moment.
The way I laughed out loud. And for those listening, Megan and I watched this together this morning. So it was kind of fun to watch it together because she just gave me this look when Elijah was like, man, look at the snow. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy.
The snow on the mountains is crazy, bro. And then they get up to leave, and out of Ezra's blanket falls the Star Quality Challenge invitation. Mm-hmm. There is no festive face-off in this episode.
Correct.
Our Star Quality Challenge is a little more involved.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do for our Star Quality Challenge is we have a scene shot in 3 parts. We will have a director on set, and we're told that the director will determine if they get or need extra takes.
Yeah. Like a real movie.
We move on from let's go to let's go, boys.
Oh my gosh. For some reason, that's like triggering some sort of like commercial or something from my youth. Let's go, boy. That's it. There was like a song that said like, oh, is it Flavor Flav? Who says that? Yeah, boy. Okay. Oh, I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
You know, I do love Flava Flav. Flavor of Love. One of the all-time great reality shows. So this challenge will combine kind of everything they've been tested on so far. Like their ability to take direction, connect with a co-star, learn lines.
Yeah. Jonathan Bennett is very explicit when he says this is about script knowledge, taking direction, having a connection with your co-star. So they're looking at a lot of things here. You know what I was looking at?
What?
Ezra's super cute sweater.
And Wendy has 2 pointer dogs, so she was a big fan of.
Yeah, he had like this blue Christmassy sweater with these like pointer dogs on it. You know, I want to jump on the internet right now and see if I can find it.
You know, honestly, that style of sweater, it's like, I don't know what you would call it. Like, it's not an ugly sweater.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like in that realm. Like, but it's like classic Christmas. I don't know, it's very popular, but I would like something like that.
Yeah, I think. I wonder if my husband would wear it. Probably not.
We do get So we have some guest stars. Of course, Jonathan and Melissa will be supporting actors in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Ali Liebert returns as director, and their co-star will be one Nikki DeLoach.
I like how you put that soft SH on the end of her name now.
It's really the first time I've ever done it, but I've heard so many people do it that I think that's the correct way to do it.
I think it is too. It's always been Nikki DeLoach to me, but
Yeah, we're sorry, but we've heard enough Hallmark actors recently say DeLoach, so we're changing our ways.
we are.
Know better, do better. I will say that Jonathan does look like he's crying again when he's talking about the challenge.
Several times he looks very
Jonathan and Hayden are kindred spirits. What can I say?
heightened emotionally.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can see it. The way that you explained it to me, I was listening to our recap episode yesterday from the previous
Yeah. Episode 7.
episode 7, and you're like, look, maybe he's just, because this was like his idea and now we are at the end of it, so like it all came together and
We
like,
did it.
it's very layered for him. He's not just a host here.
Yeah.
You never see Jeff Probst get weepy over.
Jeff Probst is like, I'm going to go back to my big Fiji mansion that I built here so that we do not have to go live in the jungle every single year. I'm good.
Julie Chen's never cried over a winner
No.
or a
Julie Chen
season.
Moonves, you mean?
I'm sorry.
We are filming the climax resolution scene in this episode. And the dudes sit down with Nikki to go over the script. And we get some real inside baseball talk here.
Yeah, Nikki's a pro.
She is. I just really enjoyed her in this episode. One thing she talks about is they're blocking the scene. And so since there's 3 of them, they're filming it in 3 different parts. And they're going to film like each person's all at once. And she talks about how like it's Hallmark. So if we're filming 3 scenes in one location, regardless of the fact if they're chronological, we're going to film them all at once to make it make sense logistically.
Yeah, and you got to be a good actor and pick up like the emotion you were feeling
In the moment before that scene.
Yeah, this was a lot of good advice, and I mean, I'm not an actor.
No, but
And-
I thought it gave me a lot of insight. She was like, you got
Yeah.
to remember what just happened.
Yeah,
Put yourself in the moment. We do have a kissing scene. And so she kind of talks a little about like how they block that. Like they don't actually kiss in the rehearsal of it, in the first run of it. So they're not just smooching all day long on set.
I feel like, you know what I just had a memory of?
I don't.
You seem like staring off.
I do.
Like, the memory is running through my
I
head
can
right
like
now.
envision it above your head in soft focus.
Remember when Brandon on 90210 got a little role in season 1 of some popular teenage show, and it was a kissing scene, and he had to do it like over and over and over and over again.
Vaguely.
Really? With Lydia Leeds? Oh my God! How do I pull these names out of my
Season 1 is probably my least favorite season of that show.
Oh my gosh!
The fashions are tragic.
So good. Where are my 90210 people at? Anyway, they kissed in rehearsal. Oh, actually, it wasn't a rehearsal. It was like they had to shoot the scene.
just had to keep
over and
retaking
over
it,
and over
yeah.
again. Never mind. Anyway, that's what I was thinking of.
I do notice like they're all in full wardrobe in this scene. Like Ezra's in like 2 sweaters. They all have coats and scarves, and they're sitting in the house. I guess because they're in and out, but they don't like take off their coat and scarf. They're fully dressed throughout this entire thing.
Yeah, I'm wondering, are they actually shooting this all in one day? Is this over a 2-day period?
It's got to be all in one day.
Maybe not though, but probably
I
because
think so.
I mean, if they film a movie in 15 days, they're not going to stretch out a reality TV show over 2 days.
So we go back outside. We notice that there is a huge crew on set. Like they break out the big guns.
I got everybody. Lighting.
I don't know what else they
Who
need.
else? Grip. I don't know.
Sound.
Yeah, they got tons
They
of
have
people.
background actors.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm. And so Allie walks them through the blocking of the scene, where Jonathan's going to be, where Melissa's going to be. They tease that Melissa may improv. She does not. Spoiler alert. She just delivers the lines. She
Mhm.
doesn't trip them up a little bit. But Ezra is very worried about being able to stay in character, and you had an observation here.
I noticed here at this part, in my notes, I said they are showing a lot of Ezra, a lot of talking head confessionals, a lot of him.
Yeah.
Is this what I think is what's happening? What I think is happening?
And are they also trying to throw us off the scent by him talking about like how he's struggling to get into the moment? So because they block these, they film the first scene, each dude, all three dudes in the first segment, getting out of the car, tossing their keys to Jonathan, giving a big smile. And I actually think they all do a nice job. They all got those winning smiles.
I think so too. This is an easy scene. I think that for their first scene, like they got to get out of a car and like have some words with Jonathan. Easy.
Easy.
They
Nice
all
warm
do
up.
well. I thought Ezra looks great. Elijah is enjoyable to watch, and Hayden did really well as well.
Look, Ezra getting out of that truck, he and that truck were born to be co-stars.
That's interesting. I think you're right.
I think so too. Next up, we get our scene with Melissa, and each one of the dudes is given a second take here where they're given some direction. Elijah goes first. In Elijah's second take, Allie asks him to like not rush his final line a little bit, and he still does.
Yes, timing is a little off.
Yeah, even Jonathan comments that he jumps the cue a little bit.
Can you tell when Jonathan does those voiceovers?
Yes, I can tell when it is not happening in the moment.
Yeah,
the
me
sound is
too.
ever so slightly
Drives
different.
me crazy.
Ezra's scene is up next, and Ezra gets magical real falling snow on his scene, which really adds to the gravity of the moment.
Yeah, I wrote, wow, this is a vibe.
Ezra jumps the cue too, but he's given a chance by Allie to do a second take, and he takes that direction real well. The other thing, I think she tells him like, you don't need to like deliver the line so loudly. Like you don't need to like, I think he adjusts very well on his second take. Finally, we get Hayden. Hayden does not jump the cue. Hayden actually, I think, does the best of all three on his first take.
I agree.
So Allie has to come up with a different direction. So she says, you need your eyes to sparkle when you see Holly. And he's like, I love Allie. She gives real clear directions. And I was like, how exactly does one make your eyes sparkle on command?
It's like Tyra telling you got to smize.
Right?
How do you do that?
How indeed.
How do you make your eyes sparkle? The man is working with the bluest eyes in the business
He's
already.
Like, I'm sparkling here. He actually, according to our judges, he nails it.
Yeah, I think he does really well as well.
It is now kissing scene time. And Ezra goes first, and his first take is stiff, in my opinion.
His first take is stiff, and I agree with you. I don't find him super believable. It just feels like he's just like spitting out the words.
Well, to me, Ezra is stage acting, not screen acting here.
What's the difference?
Well, I think screen acting, your behavior is a little bit more real to life because the camera picks up everything.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And so when he's like delivering these lines on stage, you need to be bigger because you get swallowed up.
Sure.
Big
okay.
audience, tiny stage. On camera, the camera's going to pick up all those little things. So I don't need to be shouting at you.
Got it.
I can have a conversation with you if we're on camera. And that kind of is Allie's direction to him. She's like, you need to have more realistic dialogue. You're kind of like talking at Nikki. His second take is much better. He takes the initiative to do a little tear wipe on Nikki's face.
It's a good move.
It's a good move. It's like the hair tuck.
Yeah.
And I think their kiss is the best of the three.
Oh, do you?
I do. I think Ezra does the best.
I enjoyed it. I thought the kiss was great. I'm not exactly moved by the acting in it, but also I just think that like sometimes we're supposed to feel something, and I felt something in their kiss there. So good job, Ezra.
Elijah's up next. Look, I do love Elijah. He's just so natural. He's so happy. Allie gives him some direction to let the love show through in the moment, and Elijah makes a big choice.
Yeah.
In his kissing scene, he does a fist pump in the air, which to me is giving like John Hughes movie vibes. And there are some split thoughts about that, which we'll talk about. I felt like I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Like, big choice, kind of cool, but I wasn't sure if this was the place to make it.
Yeah, well, I liked it. There was two things that he did physically that I liked. He's talking about the boombox, and he's illustrating with his arms.
That
and
I loved.
holding a boombox over my head. I thought that was good. And then the fist pump. You're right. It is a little reminiscent of like maybe something we would see not on Hallmark. Maybe something we would see from a younger actor,
Oh, yeah.
like someone
Judd
playing a
Nelson in the
teenager.
Breakfast Club walking away on the football field.
Something like that. I'm such a fan of his, though, that I was like, I like it. I like that he was risky and made a choice.
Mm-hmm.
But I also was a little bit worried because we see Jonathan Bennett's reaction, and it's like big eyes from Jonathan Bennett. Like,
Yes.
"Oh, I don't know.
Hayden's next. What do you think about Hayden?
I thought Hayden was I thought he killed it with the emotion in this scene.
You know, I was actually surprised by Allie's direction because to me, like, I feel like he has like urgency in the way he's talking to Nikki. And Allie's like, well, you don't want it to come through like you're begging. And I was like, oh, to me, it felt like he was the most invested in Nikki not leaving.
What's wrong with begging?
That's a good question. You want to be begged every once in a while?
Yeah, dude.
I think his retake is fine. Like, I thought his first take was great, quite frankly. So,
Yeah, and Nikki told him, like, in this scene, like, not to be timid. There was, like, a little bit of conversation. We see, like, he asks, like, can I pull you in? And, you know, and I think that's really good for someone when you're working with another person to be like, is it okay if I do this? Like, well, and I don't think he was, like, asking for permission, but he's asking, like, is this the right thing to do? Because I'm working with a pro here. Is this would be a natural move to like pull this body in closer to you.
yeah. And I think when you're talking physical contact, especially if you're people who haven't worked together before, I think it's fine to like clarify, like, hey, I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We got to kiss.
Right. There's no real indication here. Like, not one single guy is going, I killed it. I'm going to win this.
No one blows it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are 3 solid performances in the end.
Yeah. And if we can go on to the judges section next, they're talking here. I think it's a nice transition. Melissa and I think Jonathan both say like 3 great performances, 3 different movies.
I loved that perspective.
Mhm.
Yeah, like we're getting totally different vibes here from the way that they did these scenes.
Yeah, and if you're the director and you're like, oh, I am filming, this is a big emotional movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to want the fist pump. So immediately then that
Yeah.
person is out, right?
Yeah, like what vibe is the director going
What
for
movie
here?
are they going for?
What movie are they making?
Yeah.
So they do talk it through. Again, Jonathan, when it comes to Elijah's fist pump, he was worried about that choice. Melissa and Allie seem to like it. Melissa's like, look, sometimes as a director, you want someone who comes in and makes a choice.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to be very director specific because maybe you're a director who's like, I don't want you to make that decision for me. Let me guide the scene.
So that's what made me worry about Blake all season long when he would like throw in these ad libs and like go off script and say stuff. Because I was like, well, how is that taken by a director? As a director, like, yo, stay to the script. I don't want you doing anything extra here.
And I think it varies, right? You know, I love The West Wing, but a lot of commentary about that show is like, you don't ad lib Aaron Sorkin's writing.
Oh, really?
Like you say the lines those are the lines he wrote. You say the lines on the page.
Oh, interesting.
And so I think it's a risky move.
Mm-hmm.
So we move to the elimination cave. And prior to the cave, of course, the dudes, talking head, talk about what it would mean to them to win. Cut to Ezra in the cave is crying.
I know I kind of joked about it all season long. He does cry a lot, and that's okay. I just feel like every time we see, maybe Ezra's nerves just get the best of him, and he's like so like.
He did cry in the last episode too when he won, or before they even announced the winners.
Yes, and then I think in the episode before that too, where the scene with Rachel Boston where they were supposed to cry.
He cried afterward. Yes, indeed. We've seen a lot of tears from Ezra.
It's okay. There's nothing wrong with a man crying. He a lot.
It is. We get some from our judges. Melissa wants to be their cool Aunt Melissa. She's like, don't forget about me after the show. She seems teary.
And Megan commented that her dress was great.
I loved her dress. I loved Nikki's dress too, but I don't know where I put my boobs in that dress.
Okay, but Melissa's great. Melissa's dress was great.
Loved it. I would totally wear that.
So cute. There's a lot of feedback here. I think Jonathan Bennett looks like a proud papa.
Yeah.
Telling the guys how great they've been. Again, I think this is like a big moment for him too, where it's like, look at my idea. And here we are at the end of the road. Like, you know, he's telling these guys how proud he is.
So something great about each one before we get our first elimination. And he says, unfortunately, Elijah, you are not Mr. Christmas.
Were you gutted?
I was gutted that they eliminated him first.
I wish they didn't eliminate somebody. I wish
we just announced the winner.
Yeah.
I do too. I do too. Why did we need a final two?
We don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just feels like.
Because it feels like there's a first, a second, and a third place.
Yeah.
And I guess there is, and we always knew there was going to be a winner, but this show to me became so much about the relationship between the dudes. I don't know. I just was rooting for Elijah. I like him. I want good things for him.
Yeah, I was rooting for him too. I got to say, like, I'm pretty disappointed because I said it early on. I don't want to come out and say who I'm rooting for because they always lose. Here it is, folks. I was rooting for Elijah all season long.
Yeah, Wendy never said it out loud. I'd like to throw it back. Episode 1, Ezra comes on scene, and I said, oh, to me, knowing nothing, he's the winner of the show.
He looks like the Hallmark guy.
Yeah, and then you'll recall, fast forward several episodes, I said I projected Elijah as the winner.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Hayden and Ezra, and the winner is, based on their time as a whole, in addition to this most recent challenge, Ezra. I was surprised.
I am surprised as well.
Am I surprised, though, looking at Ezra and Hayden next to each other? Look, I like Hayden a lot. I think Hayden was strong from day one. My issue with Hayden is, to me, he looks so young. I perceive him as so young.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm old. And so he's not hitting as Hallmark leading man for me.
Oh, interesting.
As an adult elder. And I know Ezra and Elijah are both young too. They don't strike me as so young.
Got it. It's so funny. I'm thinking about the entire show. And if I didn't watch it week to week, if I could have binged the entire thing, maybe I could have seen a through line here. I think editing has a lot to do with this show. We did not see a lot of Ezra.
Perhaps intentionally. Yeah, I was saying to Wendy, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what got cut. We don't know the story they decided to tell. But Ezra wins, and here's what I like. We do get to see Ezra's full scene cut together.
Here's where I wish they would have shown all three of them.
I do too.
Let the public see all of them.
Yeah, put that in an extended cut, please. Hallmark Plus.
Yes, please.
But it is, you see Ezra's full scene. Look, he's got that big, pretty smile. I think he will look really good with Jessica Lowndes.
It's a nice pairing.
Hopefully we'll get to see Happy Holidays soon to see it all come together.
When does it premiere?
Happy Holidays premieres Saturday, December 21st. I do believe it is the final movie of the Countdown to Christmas season.
As of the recording of this episode, we don't know who the writer is on this script. We do know that director Terry Ingram worked on it as a director. And Terry Ingram is what's the word I'm looking for?
He's no slouch. They didn't pick an unknown director for this. I will tell you, I am always nervous about a movie with dogs, particularly one that features the dog so prominently. Could go strongly two different directions.
Can you think of a Hallmark movie that was good that had a dog in it?
Yes.
Guiding Emily.
Yes.
Yeah, and the dog wasn't even that prominent in that movie. God, Sarah Drew is so good in that movie.
Also that Michael Rady movie.
With Nikki DeLoach.
Yes. I don't know what it's called.
That's a good movie too.
Go ahead, scream at your phones. Email us the name
Puppy Love. No, I don't. Rescue. Love to the Rescue. Something like that.
I think you're right. Good job, Wendy. Well, we may have a surprise in store for you next week if you are a fan of the Finding Mr. Christmas series. So don't go anywhere. And thank you for listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark. If you love this podcast, we love your 5-star ratings and reviews. We will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.